Welcome to our weekly Mitzvah Shabbos program. To continue from last week, the program that I spoke about Kiddush HaShluchim and what Rabbi Chadakov says, he was the head of the Shluchim. So today I want to share with you what he mentioned to Rabbi Mindel. They discussed about the beginning years of Kiddush HaShluchim, what he mentioned to him. And this is what every Shliach should know. This is from Rabbi Chadakov. And I think it's important to know from Rabbi Chadakov because he was the Remsa Mensch. Some people, speakers, they say about Shlichus, which is important, everything. But the real thing comes from Amalekite side, from people that were involved, who started Shlichus. This is Rabbi Chadakov. He was the head. So let's hear what Rabbi Chadakov said then. This is on paper, written down. He says like this: every morning, every person gets up, every shliach gets up. They say, "Matoivu oyhalecho Yaakov, mishkenesecha Yisrael." Oyhel, he says, is temporary. I'm sorry. Yes, oyhel is temporary. Mishkenesecha is permanent. By temporary, it says the word Yaakov. Yaakov means the heel. It's a lower level. Mishkenesecha, it says Yisrael. Yisrael is Lirosh. Every shliach, he says, has to know, gets up in the morning, that what is the Iker and what is a Tofel. What is priority and what is secondary. It's very important. And he says like this: a shliach has to know, and not only a shliach, he says, every yid should know what is the priority and what is secondary. He says a Chabad house is important, but that's Yaakov, that's Ekev, that's the Gashmiyas. A desk is important, a card is important, but the shliach has to know what is the Iker. The Iker is Mishkenesecha, what's in the Chabad house. And he said over here, he said a shliach should know and think always, how many shiurim did I do this week, or this year, or today? How many people put on film today? How many people did I make Shomer Shabbos this year? That is the Iker. Not that a Chabad house is not important. It is important. But when is the Chabad house important? When the Iker is what's in the Chabad house. This is what he was saying. Oyalecho Yaakov, Mishkenesecha Yisrael. Oyalecho is Yaakov, but that's temporary. That's not the Iker. And if a person doesn't have a Chabad house, it doesn't mean that he cannot do all that, make sure people Shomer Shabbos, have Shiurim. Of course it's easier with having. But this is the Iker, and because some people, he said, put their whole mind in how beautiful has to be the Chabad house, and in the fundraising he mentions here. But when it comes to the Iker, it's not the same. This is what Rabbi Chadakov mentioned then, in Tovshin Mem Zayin. Now, then he said that Rebbe, being a Nosei Hador, the Rebbe sends all Yidden, wants all Yidden to do in Afot Samayonis. It's not only Chabad Chassidim, everybody. The Rebbe carries 3 crowns. The crown of Chabad, the crown of all Yidden, and even the crown of Lahavdol Goyim. That's what the Rebbe spoke about, Sheva Mitzvahs B'nai Noach. And this reminds me of somebody that asked the Rebbe, why isn't Chabad into kashrus? Not that Chabad is not, but the main focus is not kashrus. They do chinuch. Kashrus is important. Kashrus is metayed and neshama. You have to eat kosher. Why aren't they in kashrus? So the Rebbe answered him, every person is created for a purpose in this world. And this person happens to be a Satmar Chosid. So he's the one who asked the Rebbe, why isn't the Rebbe? Because I guess Satmar Chassidim are into kashrus. They have kosher. I mean, they're involved in kosher and b'kachaylim. So the Rebbe says, every person is created for a purpose. You are created in eating kosher, and that's b'tayid and neshama. It says in Tanya. And the Rebbe didn't say it, but they say a word. You are what you eat. If you eat kosher, you become kosher. If you eat pig, you become a pig. Kosher is important. So your inyan is to give Yidden kosher. Chabad are created to make the customers. And if you wouldn't have if they wouldn't involved in kosher or in Bikur Chaylim, then Chabad would have to be involved because it has to be done. So the Rebbe as a Nosi Hador make sure that everything that has to be done has to be done. If they do it, Gesundheit, maybe that's their shlichus. Our shlichus is chinuch, because we have to be the customers. If it wouldn't, as the Rebbe said here, if they wouldn't have been, then we would have to do it. Or Bikur Chelim, or he says the Tucha Meisim. That same person, as the Rebbe, speaking about Bikur Chaylim, his mother is in a nursing home, and she is like a vegetable. The doctor says that she's brain dead. And he tells the Rebbe she's like a vegetable. And his children and his grandchildren don't take off their eyes from her. They sit there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for months and months. He tells the Rebbe. And then he tells the Rebbe, you always say that everything in the world is for a purpose. God doesn't just make things for nothing, for a purpose. What is the purpose of her living? She's a vegetable. What's the purpose? So the Rebbe answers here. It's interessant. The Rebbe says, people go to Bim Chayla in the nursing home, in the hospitals. They go and they visit other people. When they see the kibbut avoim that your children and your grandchildren have, they don't take off their eyes from your mother. This is her purpose in life. That the people should learn the importance of kibbut avoim. Talking about Bikur Chaylim, we say every morning, Elu dvorim she'elam shir, ve'elohein, and then it says, Kibbut avoim, Karen kayemes lo'olam habo. This is one of the biggest inyonim the Eibishter pays back in this world. The Karen kayemes is in the other world. Kibbut avoim, honor to parents. Gemilas chasodim. Gemilas chasodim is higher than tzedakah. When a person is hungry, you give him a piece of fish. But when you teach him how to fish, then he'll be able to he won't be hungry tomorrow either. So Gemilas Chasodim is very important. Hashkamas Beis HaMidrash, get up in the morning, Shachris and Ma'ariv, Vachnosas Orchim, having guests, and everything that he mentions there, and peace between husband and wife. Then it says, V'talmud Torah keneged kulam. Learning Torah is the highest keneged kulam. So a person asked here, talking about, Bikochaylim and all these Sachen. A person asked the Rebbe, I guess he's a Rosh Hashiva apparently. Talmud Torah keneged kulam. So why don't you speak about Torah more than anything? You speak of Mitzayim, you speak about putting out film, which is important. You speak about Torah. But Torah should be more. You should focus on Torah more than other mitzvahs. It says Talmud Torah keneged kulam. So the Rebbe answered him. This is it's interesting. The Rebbe says, you're right. Talmud Torah keneged kulam. When is Talmud Torah keneged kulam? When all the things before this is done properly. When you do kibud avoim, you learn the halachas of honoring the parents the way you're supposed to honor the parents. It's not easy. Bikur chaylim, you visit chaylim. Gemilas chasodim, you get up in the morning every day and you go to shul. V'iyun tefillah, and when you daven every single word. V'havo shalom shebenodem lachavedi, whatever it says, and you bring peace, and you have orchim for Shabbos, and you do it properly. Then Talmud Torah, then the Torah that you learn reaches the highest level, keneged kulam. So in other words, kol ha'omer einli ela Torah, afilu Torah einli. That the Torah is important, but when is Torah important? When a person does everything else properly. But people shall learn. We know the people that some people learn, they can learn, but when it comes to mitzvahs, it's not that important. So this is the answer that the Rebbe answered him. Another person as the Rebbe, I don't know if we have time for this, a very short letter. He says this is another letter. Interesting. He says he has Avas Yisrael, Avas HaTorah. He says, I love Torah, and I learned Torah. I'm a Talmid Chacham, he says, but he says, I need a bracha for Shalom Bayis. That I need a bracha. So the Rebbe says, the Rebbe goes into Ava, he says he loves Torah. The Rebbe says, all the Ava from the beginning of Chumash, we have to, like, Yitzchak, and then it says the Avos between Yitzchak and Rivka. Then it says the between Yitzchak and Yaakov and Rachel, and the Avos between Yaakov and Yosef. All this is Avos after Rachel. The Avos Hashem is the last thing. V'after Rachel is in Dvorim. So you say that you love the Eibishter, you love everything, but the Avos between Ish Ishta is not there so much. You need a bracha. He says, if you don't have Avas, Benish L'Ishtay, then there is a Shaila B'chlal in your whole Ava, B'chlal, what Torah mentions before. Because Avas Hashem, that comes the last. So he tells him that the Avas Hashem, when do you have? If you have Ish L'Ishtay, then it's the Avas Hashem. Anyways, this is something that I thought I would mention to you. So Yemit Hashem, next week, we're going to continue our weekly program. Thank you.